Welcome to my channel. In this video we are going to talk about John O'Keefe's injuries matching the fire hydrant. Alan Jackson lies so easily in this next clip, it makes you wonder if he's even capable of telling the truth.
This massive laceration on the back of his head, a big giant gash, about 2.5 inches.
In the clip, Alan Jackson claims that the laceration is about 2.5 inches. The ruler they used isn't even 2.5 inches. The laceration is approximately 1 inch long. Now, there is some variation with these pentagon shapes on fire hydrants, but the laceration is well within the parameters of the laceration on his head. This one is 2 to 3 millimeters narrower than the laceration, but when you're falling, obviously it's not going to be the exact width. And the other thing I want to mention really quickly here is above the laceration is the indentation of this bolt. And when I first, the head of this bolt, when I first saw that bolt, it's two sides. It's two sides to this bolt. And the angle is correct and the length of these two bolts is correct. And when I first saw the laceration, it looked tall to me. It looked further away. The mark of the bolt looked further away, and that was because if you notice these red lines, when I first began to think about it, I was thinking of these red lines, not the blue lines. So the mark of this bolt on John, this two lines right here, is these blue lines. So it's this distance from this edge to this edge, which is longer than the space from the bottom of the bolt over. Obviously, because it's a triangle, so the angle is longer. So when you look at those two marks above the laceration, they're the right height above the laceration to match this, the top of the fire hydrant. Here we have a photo of the fire hydrant in front of 34 Fairview with the inset showing the dimensions of the pentagon. Here I used a metric ruler to show you that the pentagon shutoff valve is the same width as the laceration. This photo is to show you that the center bolt matches the marks above the laceration. Here we have an animated series of photos to make it more clear how the injuries were caused by the shutoff valve on top of the fire hydrant. I want to reiterate the pentagon fire hydrant photos are from my local fire hydrants. In this portion of the video, we're going to go over the fire hydrant at 34 Fairview. I drew these onto the board from actual photos from the fire hydrant. We just have the pentagon at the top with the little bolts going through the center of the pentagon. We have the pentagons on the side. These are the caps where the hoses go. And right here we have the wire that did all the damage to John's arm as they repeatedly tried to roll him over. And for all those people that think that this couldn't scratch your arm, think of something like this wire. You can just see how that, if it jams into the arm, this would scratch the arm. I'm not going to scratch my arm. I'd also like to point out the reason these aren't dog bites, and they can't be dog bites, is because they're not side by side. They're front to back. So in other words, if they were dog bites, they would be side by side like this, but they're not. They're front to back. So they're like this slightly twisted and then scratching. And that's because you can see this is vertical. And so when he's lying down, they're like this. And you'll notice that in the photo, there's actually kind of an angle to it. And that angle actually matches these first two. So these are the first two when he was trying to be rolled over. These dug in. And then as they pulled him forward a little further and a little further, each one of these go down his arm. So now we're just going to look at the photos, and we're going to go through the photos. I'll do a little bit of a narration as we go through the photos as quickly as we can, and you'll see how they match up. In the red circle, you can clearly see the shape of the pentagon. Here I'm measuring the dimensions of the shutoff valve. We can see they match the size of the pentagon in the red circle. Twice, this is the first place it hit. Then it bounced and hit a second time. This picture is self-explanatory. I'm measuring it at 108 degrees. Here we put the protractor on it to show you that it indeed is 108 degrees. This is a fire hydrant wrench. As you can see, the fire hydrant pentagon fits the injury perfectly. Here you can see the wire that created the injuries, not dog teeth. You can see all of the dots are up and down in the approximate same orientation as the wire.